Welcome to this episode of Beat Teacher Burnout. Are you a teacher? Are you a leader? And you're wondering, why don't you enjoy your role anymore? You used to love it. Why do you spend such a lot of time worried or stressed or exhausted? Well, today we're going to be talking to Michelle Auton, who's a very experienced teacher, leader, and an author. And so welcome, Michelle. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And why don't you launch straight in and just tell listeners a little bit about you?
Okay, thanks, Rowena. So I've been teaching for about 25, 26 years. I've been teaching since I graduated as a teacher, and I've worked in primary schools across that primary phase. I've worked as a maths consultant. I've done different roles, and I'm currently assistant head in a small village primary school in Essex. And I've been assistant head for about 12 years. But my passion is well-being, and it's about supporting teachers to have great well-being and really enjoy being in the classroom.
I love that passion of yours. It's amazing, to be able to say, you wanting teachers to enjoy being in the classroom. Do you have some strategies that, if that's your passion, you must have things that underpin that? How do you achieve that?
So I've written a book, What Happy Teachers Do. It's all about teacher self-care. So the book's split into 3 sections. The first part's all about self-care strategies, and that's things from sleep to nutrition to making sure that you have routines that support and help you. And the next part's all about mindfulness. So I've been practicing mindfulness for at least 10 years now. And I did it initially to support my own well-being, and I found it made a real difference to me really quickly. I've completed the mindfulness-based stress reduction course several times before then training to be a teacher in it myself, and I've led lots of courses in schools and for parents on mindfulness, as well as developing it in the classroom to be able to do with children as well. And then the last section of the book is all about tapping, and tapping, or EFT, is a technique that you can use to reduce stress really quickly. It helps to lower your cortisol levels and to help you to recognize and acknowledge how you're feeling in the moment, and then think about how you would potentially like to be feeling. And again, I'm a tapping practitioner, so I've been doing tapping for 6 or 7 years now, and now looking at how we can get tapping into education, because not just for teachers, but also for children.
Wow, you are a busy lady. So you're working in school and doing all these other things. That's quite impressive. So let me ask you a question. So before I burnt out as a deputy head, I loved my role. I was working really stupid long hours. And yes, I was a people pleaser and over conscientious. But I realized, I can see looking back now, I was eating takeaways all the time because I was too tired when I got home to feed me and my kids or to cook for them. I had stopped going to the gym because I was too exhausted to get back in the car and go to the gym. I was sleeping really badly. So you're talking about in your book about ways to improve all these things. How can you do it if you're so exhausted and completely, your brain is frazzled and you just don't know how you're going to get through the next day?
I think it is taking one small step at a time. So I've got a really established well-being routine that I follow and that I have made bespoke to me, and my book will help other people to be able to create their own well-being strategy and what's it routine that works for them, because one thing isn't going to be the same thing that works for everybody. Yeah. So I think it's really important to just make one small change, and it can be in a 5-minute thing. So what thing can you do for 5 minutes that's going to make a difference to you? Could it be that when you wake up in the morning, you think of 3 things that you are grateful for? Or when you go to bed at night, you think about what's been great about your day. Can you think of 3 things? And that straight away creates a massive shift in your mindset. So gratitude is a simple one that doesn't require any money. It doesn't actually require very much time. You can do it in the car on the way to work if you want to. But that's starting really small. So thinking about maybe gratitude, or thinking about, if you're talking about food, actually, if I prep my meals, so I, on a Sunday, prep my lunches for the week, because I know then I've got healthy, nutritious lunches. I'll often sometimes might either make a granola or decide what I'm going to have for breakfast that week as well. And that makes a difference, because then I know that I've got a healthy breakfast, I've got a healthy lunch. That means I'm getting nutritious food into my body, and that will help me to feel better. And it's something that I don't then need to think about. It's one less decision in the morning, because when you get up, it's already decided that's what you're having for breakfast and lunch. And then that helps you to get through the day. So I think start small. Think about small things that you can do for yourself, which are going to have an impact. Could you leave 10 minutes earlier at the end of the day? And could you then go for a walk for 10 minutes when you get home? Or can you do something? For me, my children are teenagers now. So early mornings is a quiet time in our house. When my children were younger, it used to be in the evenings was quite bad. At the moment, mornings are really quiet. So that's the time that I take to have time for me. I tend to naturally wake up quite early. So I'll do some tapping each morning about however I'm feeling that at that time. And it only takes 5 minutes, but it creates a positive mindset from the beginning of the day. Or I might do some journaling, or I might do some yoga practice or go for a walk. And it's not the same thing every day, but I have got different things and it's gradually built up over time. I didn't used to do things for myself, and it was small shifts which made a big difference for me. So first of all, I started with mindfulness, and I did small bits of mindfulness practice, and that made a difference. And I realized, I can do little bits for myself, and it does make me feel much better. So that's what I would recommend, just doing small things. And if you're feeling like you're on the verge of burnout, or you are burnt out, then it needs to be really small, and it needs to be really manageable, and it needs to make you feel good. So it needs to be small, tiny things that you can do that.
Oh, I love that. That's so practical and so sensible. And it just tallies with my journal, the Beat Teacher Burnout Journal, because in it I say in the morning, some days it's like, what is one thing I'm grateful for today? Or what's something I'm looking forward to? Or what is one thing for me that I could put into my day? So as you say, leaving 10 minutes earlier, or even dare I say, taking 10 minutes to eat your lunch in the staff room rather than at your desk, and talking while you eat rather than working while you eat. Just small things is so helpful for teachers, especially when they're starting from a place of overwhelm. And I say teachers, but I'm including leaders in this, because as a leader, I didn't have boundaries, and I didn't put myself first at all. I was so busy looking after everyone else. But actually, all the research and actually common sense says if we don't look after ourselves, we're not going to be as effective looking after those around us. Okay, so we've got to come to tapping, because I've heard about tapping and I've heard about the benefits, but can you tell people what it is?
Yeah, so tapping, you tap on different parts of your body. You start on the side of the hand, your karate chop point, and you tap in how you are feeling. And you start with the negative, and that's because we're already thinking negative thoughts. We already have a strong negative bias, which has already got those negative thoughts. So it's acknowledging what they are and saying that we still accept ourselves. So you'd start with something along the lines of, even though I'm really worried about this conversation I need to have with a parent, I love and accept myself. And you put that in, say that 3 times, and then you move around to tap at different points of your body. So you tap on the eyebrow point, and these are meridian points. They're like acupressure points. So it's a kind of mix between Chinese ancient acupuncture and modern psychology. And so you're working with your body, you're helping to reduce cortisol and stress levels by tapping in. You first of all acknowledging, this is how I feel, but I accept myself for feeling like this. It's okay to feel like this. It's okay to feel all of our feelings. And then we tap around. So you might say about, this meeting I'm having. Then we tap on the side of your eye, under your nose, your chin, your collarbone, under your arm, and top of your head. And then you go back to your eyebrow point, and you go around several times. And you are tapping on what is coming up for you. You're saying how you're feeling. You're acknowledging how you're feeling. And then you can also bring in an element of choice about, even though I feel like this, I choose to think more positively. And by doing that, you help to reduce your level of stress around whatever it is that you're worried about. It helps to acknowledge what you're thinking and feeling. But because you're reducing the stress, you're then able to think about it more logically. And the more you do that, the more neural pathways in your brain you're helping to rewire, so that you're not going to, oh, I've got that parent I need to speak to again, and feeling it in your stomach, or I've got that observation coming up, or there's a book look happening in school, or whatever it is that's happening which makes you feel more anxious or more worried. Then you've got something that you can reduce down tension and stress really quickly, and it helps you to feel so much better really fast. But you can also use it in the classroom. So I've taught my children in my class how to tap, and we use it as a self-regulation technique. It lowers the energy in the classroom so quickly. Within 2 minutes, you can have a really calm classroom. And while you're doing it, you're making yourself feel calmer. Any adults in the room, encourage them to join in, and it has a ripple effect really fast, and the energy changes really quickly.
Wow, I love that for children, because I've in the past I've used all sorts of different strategies to calm the whole class down, but that's a very specific, easy to follow one, I guess. And at the end of this, we'll tell people how they can find out more about you, Michelle, so that if they want to learn about this, they can get your book or whatever. But what is striking me about a lot of your strategies, and you're clearly a very calm person, you're certainly coming across very calm and measured, but it's, you've mentioned so many different aspects that can help depending on who you are, because not one way works for everybody. And I was just reading this morning, you were talking about reducing the sort of negative self-talk effectively, and reducing the clutter in your mind. And actually, I was reading Jim Quick was talking about our minds can be so full and messy, and actually by just journaling, you can reduce that all right down, so that then you have a clear mind to think better and to make better decisions, and to be that energetic and creative teacher leader that you want to be. But I guess tapping and mindfulness, all these things, they're going to sew into reducing your stress levels in some way for each of us. What would it be that you would say would help sleep the most in your experience?
I think having a good routine before bed makes a massive difference. I know for me that actually if I work too late, it always impacts my sleep. So I tend to have a cut-off point where I know that actually I need to not be working past that point, and that makes a big difference to me. There's certain things which I do which I know make me feel better and help me to sleep better. So I love having a bath. I always do a meditation. In the evenings, often around the time when I have a bath, I'll then do a mindfulness meditation. I always journal before I go to bed. I've done that for many years, and just writing it down makes a difference. For me, I love to read a book as well, but it's about having a routine that works for you. So that's my routine. That's what works for me, but it might not work for somebody else. So it's about thinking about, well, what does work for you? Some people have difficulty getting to sleep. So it's thinking about your routines before you go to bed. Some people find that they wake in the middle of the night, or they wake really early in the morning and they want to be able to get back to sleep, but their mind started working. So there's different things that you can do for that. And there's lots of mindfulness and tapping strategies which really help with that. So you can tap in the middle of the night. You can visualize tapping. You can also tap on your finger points. So there's videos I've got on my website, michelleauton.com, or on YouTube, that about finger tapping that you could use, and about sleep in general. But being able to find something that really works for you. There's a mindfulness strategy where you can breathe in. Imagine you're breathing in and out of your feet. So you're taking your energy, your mind. When your mind's busy in the middle of the night, you want to take all of your thoughts away from your head and somewhere else in your body. So imagining breathing in and out your feet when you're laying down, it helps you to take your thought process elsewhere, and it helps to calm you down. And because you're imagining breathing in and out of your feet, then you're taking longer, slower breaths, which also will help you to relax more and help you to fall asleep. Things like 3-5 breathing, where you breathe in for the count of 3, breathe out for the count of 5. when your out breath is longer than your in breath, then it helps you to feel much calmer. It helps you to slow down your breathing, your heart rate will start to slow down a little bit so that you're able to then find it easier to go to sleep. Doing an alphabet of gratitude is a great one. So if your mind's really active in the middle of the night, then thinking about, oh, what is it that begins with A that I'm really grateful for? What about B, C? And when I've done that, I rarely get past G, because you then find that you're falling asleep because you're thinking about things you're grateful for. We've already talked about the fact when you think about gratitude, then actually it releases endorphins, it helps you to feel calmer. So anything like that which is helping you to feel calmer is going to help you to sleep better. And it's, as I said, I've said lots of different strategies because not one strategy is going to be the same one for everybody. And just experiment and see what works for you. But yeah, they're some of the things that I use, or I have used. Wow. That may help people sleep.
You're like a Mary Poppins never-ending bag of strategies for school staff. I love this. This is gold dust. Is there any other strategy that you haven't shared that is one of your top tips before we go?
I think the other thing which I really enjoy doing that makes a big difference is getting out in nature. So I love if you follow me on social media, you'll see there's lots of posts for going out for walks in the woods. I love we live near the woods. I love going outside in nature. And I think it's something very calming and therapeutic about being outside in nature, whatever the weather's like, whatever season it is, then that's something which I think helps to fill your bucket and make you feel better. And if you can walk with a friend, even better, because then you get to have a chat at the same time, or walk on your own, listen to a podcast or whatever you're doing. But getting out in nature, I think, would be my other top tip of things which I really do that makes a difference.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. I suppose one of the things that has comes to me is at the beginning you were talking about, I was saying as an overwhelmed deputy, I just couldn't get my brain out of survival mode to get proactive. And you're talking about small, tiny steps. And I spoke to a couple of other younger teachers a while back, and they shared their life planner where they looked at their week and they planned in, today I'm going to leave school at this time, so a bit earlier, and I'm going to go to the gym that day, and I'm going to have a date night with my partner that day. So they were very proactive about prioritizing what they needed. And you're adding to that, really, because you're saying, I'm going to make my lunches for the week, and I might even, prepare my breakfast, make sure I've got good breakfasts. And it is about thinking ahead a little bit to make sure you've got what you need, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I love that. Michelle, thank you. So you mentioned your website, and we'll put it in the podcast blurb anyway. And you're on social media? All social media?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram is Michelle Auton, and then Michelle Auton, and then the number 2. And on Facebook it's just Michelle Auton. Yeah, or my website's michelleauton.com. And I've also got videos on YouTube, but the videos are all linked through the website anyway, so you can be able to find them. So yeah, if people want to do more tapping, or if they want to do some mindfulness, then there's videos they can tap along to. And there's also videos for children for tapping. So if you type into YouTube Tapping Club, then I've got some videos up there which are designed for children to introduce them to tapping. They're only about 3 minutes long. They're great as brain breaks in the classroom and being able to help children to be able to learn tapping skills as well.
Love it. Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate your time and all your expertise and experience. And thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for listening. I hope you took something of value from today. If you want to connect, I'm at rowenahicks.com, or I have a Facebook group, which is Preventing Teacher Burnout. So I look forward to connecting to you at one of those.